Roman Reigns' first challenger has been revealed, so we'll dive into that entire narrative. We'll also check out what's up with Alexa and more, starting things off with everything related to Roman and the fresh start to his title reign. In the first 24 hours of this 7th world title reign for Roman, they teased several top challengers. Obafemi called him out on the Night 2 post-show, and during the Raw after WrestleMania, both Gunther and LA Knight also expressed serious interest in coming after the title. So the main event scene on Raw does appear to be pretty loaded. Roman has faced LA Knight in the past, so that would be him reigniting an old feud there. But in terms of Gunther and Obafemi, Roman has never faced those two, so that would be fresh matchups that were not seen at all during Roman's previous title reign. Roman closed out the Raw after WrestleMania with a segment that did actually reveal who his first challenger will be. As Roman was walking out to the ring, he saw Jimmy and Jay backstage, and while walking past them, he invited them to join him to the ring. So for Roman's Raw entrance, we saw another reunion for the original Bloodline. All 3 members were united once again. They all get to the ring, and Roman expresses how much he missed coming out with them and having them by his side. And that's when Roman dropped the big offer. Roman wants Jimmy and Jay to stand by him again just like old times. But Roman pitched that it would not be like the previous time. Jimmy and Jay will not be serving him this time around. They would all be equal and treated fairly, which Jimmy and Jay agreed to and went to pose with Roman in the ring just like the old days. But that's when they got interrupted by their own family member, Jacob. Roman assumed Jacob was there to acknowledge Roman as well, but Jacob shut that down real quick. Jacob said that he needs that world title and needs everything the tribal chief has for the sake of improving life for his family. Roman downplayed Jacob's challenge, saying that he's not accepting or denying it. He's just going to give Jacob another week to think about it because he's not sure if Jacob is ready. Roman also confirmed that he himself would be on Raw next week, which is huge news itself because he has disappeared after WrestleMania season over the last 2 years. Roman said that if Jacob beats him, it's going to be a lot of responsibility for him to carry that title over his shoulder. But how if Jacob loses to Roman, he'll be forced to acknowledge him? Roman even tried to belittle Jacob and already get into his head by calling Jacob his little cousin. So the mind games are already in play. And as the original Bloodline was leaving the ring, Roman did tell Jimmy to talk to Jacob and talk some sense into him to take back his challenge. Obviously, it does not seem like Jacob is going to pull his challenge from the table after presenting it like that on the main event segment of the Raw after WrestleMania. So in all likelihood, it will be Jacob versus Roman at Backlash for the world title. As usual, there's some mixed reactions to this first matchup for Roman's world title reign. Well, some fans are a bit confused on how a SmackDown superstar can cut the line and become #1 contender for Raw's world title. And fans bringing up that argument are completely right. It's inexplainable. Although Roman versus Jacob is a fresh singles match that has never been done before and should be very exciting, some fans are feeling a bit hesitant though because this entire narrative seems like they could setting up a full reboot for the Bloodline overall. Roman is back as world champion. He just recruited Jimmy and Jay to stand by his side again, and he's facing a family member that refuses to acknowledge him and wants his title. So that's the same exact narrative and storyline that was in place for Roman Reigns in 2020 and 2021. So fans are worried that this new storyline with Jacob will be too similar to things we've already seen the Bloodline go through over 6 years ago. So that's a big concern that a lot of fans are talking about at the moment. Is this really a new storyline? Or are they just remixing things Roman and the Bloodline did back during the Thunderdome? Some fans feel conflicted about Jimmy and Jay standing behind Roman again because it kind of diminishes everything they've all been through over the last few years. Jimmy and Jay had a battle to break free from Roman in 2023, which led to them having their own fallout with each other. We saw Jay rise to the top of singles competition in 2025 as world champion, and now he's back to just being a henchman for Roman, pretty much erasing all his story progression over the last few years and putting him back in the same spot he was at before breaking free in 2023. So that's why there's a lot of mixed emotions going around right now with the entire Bloodline reunion and Jacob storyline. It's great and nostalgic to see the original Bloodline back together again, but is this really a fully new storyline? Or are they trying to recreate some of the magic from the Bloodline's original run? That's probably the most important question to ask here. Roman's line about Jacob needing to acknowledge him if he loses is interesting because it makes you wonder if that will be an actual stipulation to their Backlash match. If Jacob loses and can't beat Roman for the title at Backlash, he has to join the Bloodline. And that's part of the issue here with fans, because everything that was just described right there is Jay's exact narrative from 2020 that he went through. So are they recreating some of those old Bloodline storyline moments, or is this a new storyline after all? That's the main concern fans are having right now, but it looks like the story will become more clear in the coming weeks and at Backlash. The fact that Roman is appearing on the April 27th edition of Raw is a miracle itself, so hopefully he does continue to make more regular appearances, because it will help the storyline immensely. Alexa Bliss came out with a whole new look at WrestleMania 42 that's only making the Wyatt Sicks conversation grow even more. Alexa Bliss made her WrestleMania 42 entrance as a sort of zombified Firefly, clearly paying homage to her close friend Bray Wyatt. Even up on the screen behind Alexa, they had a version of Bray Wyatt's Firefly logo that featured Alexa's own spin to the logo. On top of Alexa's Firefly-themed gear, she even had the Fiend's red and black pinstripes near her arms. And on the back piece of her ring gear, Alexa had the words "always connected" going down her back a few times. This is a reference to what Bray Wyatt said about Alexa Bliss when he was asked about her at the 2023 Royal Rumble press conference, where he said Alexa and himself were always going to be connected. So that's why Alexa carried those words with her to the ring. And this entire new Bray Wyatt themed look for Alexa Bliss has everyone asking the same question we've been asking since 2024. And that's the question of wondering if Alexa does have a future with the Wyatt Sicks. Alexa is acknowledging her never-ending connection with Bray Wyatt, but we've never really seen her interact with the Wyatt Sicks outside of some teasers that aired on screen in early 2025. So a lot of fans are wondering if Alexa's WrestleMania 42 look could be a subtle sign that Alexa could be going dark again in the near future. The fact that Bray's logo was on screen during Alexa's entrance is interesting too, because they did that during late 2022. The Wyatt logo would pop up behind Alexa, and that would cause her to really lose her mind and fall back deep into her Wyatt mentality. So to see that logo pop up behind Alexa here in 2026, is it a sign that Alexa is slowly slipping back into insanity? Not to mention that the Wyatt Sicks need Alexa Bliss right now more than ever. The Wyatts have no momentum at all, they don't have any direction, and they just lost the grand finale against MFT. So talking about being desperate and being in a bad spot, things are really rough for the Wyatt Sicks at this current moment. And maybe it could be Alexa Bliss that saves them. Remember back in spring 2025, it was reported that an idea was pitched for Alexa to lead the Wyatt Sicks, but then Alexa teamed up with Charlotte and all those other plans disappeared. And it does make you wonder if they could ever return to those Wyatt Sicks plans for Alexa. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.